stretcher. Shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score! right kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Comes in, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First right kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fans Only Sports Network's live broadcast of Division I high school hockey here in the state of Rhode Island from Smithfield Municipal Ice Rink here in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Tonight's matchup between the Smithfield Sentinels and the Warwick Co-op team. I'm your play-by-play commentator, Chris Heatu, bringing you throughout tonight's matchup once again between the Smithfield Sentinels and Warwick Co-op. So obviously, Warwick, a combination of Tollgate and Pilgrim High School, came into the league last year. Didn't finish with a great record, but this year have really caught Division I by storm and off guard. They played very well, had some great games throughout the year. A 5-2 win earlier in the season against Bishop Hendricken, a league game, is what really gave this team the legitimacy that it has right now. Of course, earlier in the season, shortly after the 3-0 loss to LaSalle, this team went on to go on a 4-game win streak. They now sit at 7-4. They've lost the last 2 games that they played that have been league. So for them, a win tonight would be huge in terms of continuing that stride to put themselves in a better seed in Division I. Now, of course, for the Sentinels last night, a very tightly contested game right here against the LaSalle Rams. It was a battle of the home teams because both teams share this ice. However, Smithfield fell 2-1 in overtime off of a game winner from Drew Bradley, and the Rams walked away with their 8th win of the year. Smithfield falls to 5-7. Looking to get that 6th win of the year to move themselves back into the brink of eclipsing 500 on the season and potentially making another postseason run like they did last year. For Warwick, of course, we just mentioned, they are already but insured to potentially make the postseason. So they need to take care of business on the road tonight if they really want to have a shot for a better positioning in Division I. So now we'll take a look at the starting lineups over here. Starting on the right is Warwick, as their skaters will come up to the blue line. And starting in net tonight for Warwick, the number 31 of Braxton Bragg. And starting off with number 7 of Cody Van Gordon. Number 24, Matt Payne. Number 21 of Will Hawkins. Number 3 of Nate Goff. And the number 29 of Anthony Mercurio. And starting in net tonight, the 35 of Matt Bradley. And so with that, that concludes the starting lineups, and we'll take a moment to remember America for the playing of our national anthem. And with that slap of the stick on the ice, that means we are all set and ready to go from Smithfield Municipal Ice Rink, once again between Warwick Co-op and the Smithfield Sentinels. Let's get a word from tonight's game sponsors. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Joseph Lammy, 696 Reservoir Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island. For consultation and information, visit josephlammy.com. Joseph Lammy, attorney at law. And by RR Elite Recruits, with access to 3,000 schools and 80,000 coaches across 38 NCAA sports for high school athletes looking to play at the next level. Be seen by visiting RR Elite Recruits. Go to www.rreliterecruits.com to sign up for more information. And with that, both teams, respectively, will take their starting positions out on the ice at center. And we will get ready to go for another memorable game tonight here, potentially. And just like last night, a great turnout from both crowds at center. And we are set and ready to go from Smithfield. And we are underway as the co-op, as Warwick takes possession at center. And they try and dump it forward, taken away by Hawkins. Hawkins to Goff at center, who passes it back to Van Gordon. Van Gordon to Payne, mishandling the puck a little bit. And it's taken at center by the 4 of Ethan Pizzulo. Trying to dump it in for Richie Kavanaugh. Payne up to Goff, a little bit off the board that time as it's taken away by Sean Mullaney. And this one wrapping around the back. Payne. And that's the blue line. A shot taken down from Pizzulo. Ricochets off to the right. Pizzulo, another one, bouncing off the defender as Payne was there to defend, and Mercurio will take it through center. Getting a little tied up that time from Mullaney, but he maintains possession. Taking a shot off of Bragg. Off right there, and it will go off to the left. Sending it back to Mercurio behind the back. Displaced puck on the near side, and it wraps around the back end of the far. Met by Lucas Hemmond. And checked that time into the boards by the 18 of Boudreau. And now Hopkins will dump it in. Trying to get Rinker set up. And back to center. Here comes Warwick as Clements has the puck taken away. Sylvester with the leading pass for Boudreau. Boudreau, this one flies through the air in the zone. And behind the net, there is Gerard Schifino. And now the 14 that time of Jack Saylor. Trying to give it up for the 19 of Cooper Grossguth in front of the bench. Grossguth getting tied up that time with Boudreau. And the Sentinels bring it up through center. Rinker, that time getting over to Hopkins. This one dumped in. Rinker mishandling the puck as he has Warwick on his tail. This shot goes high and over the top from Frank Lombardi. And at the blue line, Sylvester will dump it back in, and it's taken away by Daniel Kennedy. Giving it up that time for Clements, and it's dumped in. Lombardi getting tossed off the mark a bit, and this one wrapped around the back to the far. Payne checked hard by 24 Brady Martin. 24 on 24 violence right there. And now Payne through center. Nice deke, takes the shot off of Bragg, deflected to the near side glass. On the near side. Been one of our longest sequences so far. And on the near side, Payne takes one off at Bragg, right in front of the net, and the whole left side was exposed. They'll send another one down, and that one taken away by Kennedy. Kennedy trying to lead the man that time, the 24, Brady Martin, and in front of the net, and will go to the right side on the far end. That time, Kavanaugh tied up. Another one coming down off of Bradley, that time from Pizzulo, and behind the net, Hayden. Trying to get it to Pasha, and it's dumped in. Pizzulo on the mark. Payne off the back end to Hayden. Hayden back to Payne. Payne using the boards again to get it to Thomas Hayden. And Hayden with the give towards center. At center, Sylvester. He'll dump it in. And the Sentinels will get a line change. Pizzulo for Warwick. Trying to pass it up that time for Ryan Barlow. And this one comes right at Bragg, who drops it right down to the floor. Pizzulo off that time to the 7 of Gerard Schifino. And taken away that time by Mullaney at center. Another dump in. Wrapped around the backside that time as Schifino takes it. And trying to ricochet it over for Barlow. Taken by the Sentinels, back of the net, shot, score! Smithfield strikes first. Credit of the goal that time to the 12 of Joseph McConaughey. And Smithfield takes an early 1-0 lead with 11:04 to go in the first period. So already Smithfield taking advantage early on. Bragg's left side was exposed, leading to the goal score. Taking it up is Dalton Donahan, who got credit off the assist for the ricochet. And at the top of the zone, Sylvester sends one down to the left side of Bragg. We get a tripping call here, going to be called against Smithfield. And the puck dumped up to center, and it's Bragg came off the floor. Sentinel touched it, and that penalty going to be charged that time. You can see him going into the box there, the 12 of Joseph McConaughey. So shortly after the go-ahead goal, Warwick will go on a power play for the next 2 minutes and a chance to tie things up with a power play goal. Smithfield last night gave up a power play goal in the losing effort. It came in the first period. This one given off to Pizzulo. Taking the shot immediately, that time the 9 of Richie Kavanaugh, and Bradley will glove that one up, shaving 5 seconds off the clock. And they'll face off on the right-hand side. That time giving it off for Barlow. To the top shelf, another one from Pizzulo, and Bradley will glove it up cleanly. We had a very long opening sequence to start this one off. Play didn't stop until about 11:04, and already a couple of stoppages since. But 1-0 the score as Smithfield leads Warwick in the early minutes. Ricocheting to Mercurio, and he'll clear it. Bragg to stop at that time to allow Barlow to take possession. Barlow with the Shepherd as he brings it up through the neutral zone into the attacking zone. A couple of poke checks as he dumps it in. On the far end that time, Sylvester will clear it again. And Warwick will start from scratch. Pizzulo. That time the lead to Clements. Charlie Clements gains the zone. Clements, a nice move in the far end. Cuts back. Giving it up that time for Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh off of Bradley, and Bradley with the big stop. Already some extracurriculars occurring. There was plenty of that last night between the Sentinels and the Rams. And the referees definitely not trying to let that happen again. .9:42 to go and 1:03 left on the penalty. And the face-off. And this one dumped around the backside. And this one dumped away again. Warwick calling for a penalty. They wanted to get a slashing call, but the referees will opt to ignore it. Pizzulo giving it off that time for Clements. Clements trying to get the feed. And was knocked up as Lucas Hemmond was the one intended. That shot hits the glove of Bradley. Trying to sell out for it. Pizzulo getting tripped up in the process. This one wrapped around to the near side. That shot. Shot score! This one came from the top of the zone. Bounced off of Bradley, and Lucas Hemmond finishes the deal. And Warwick finds themselves back in it. Off the ricochet, Lucas Hemmond was right there to finish the deal, and Warwick finds itself tying it up with the power play goal. 9:01 to go in the first period. We're already knotted up at 1-1. It's already getting interesting here. The crowd really being active. And we're not even 6 minutes into this one. Dumped in. Sylvester. Right off the skates, trying to send it behind the back. Goff. Goff with the shuffle over to Hawkins. Hawkins with the leading dump. Hawkins cuts around the backside of the net. Has the puck poked away. Goff getting tied up. And Warwick taking it away. Schifino off of the near side glass. It's dumped all the way past Bradley. No icing. And Sylvester wraps it around, trying to get it to Goff. He's pushed off. Goff clears the puck to center. A nice poke check that time from Saylor. A huge hit from Lombardi in the open ice. And Lombardi takes possession. The feed to Goff. And this one ricocheting. Goff fortunate enough to gain possession. Another poke that time from Nate Kane. And now Kane Giving it off that time to the 8 of Kennedy. And this one off of Bradley. Had to juggle it a bit before he can stop it. And that time, that was Brady Martin who led him there. And we'll get a face-off again on that far right side. We've been here a number of times now. And Smithfield wins the face-off as they try and dump it to center. It's kept in the zone by Pizzulo. A hard hit on Pizzulo as he regains the possession, and Bradley will scarf that one up and stop play momentarily after 11 seconds. And a change of line from Warwick. As Warwick takes the face-off, they'll dump it in off of Christopher Schifino. Trying to backhand it over towards Bradley. It ricochets off the pads. Payne, toss up to center. Boudreau checked into the boards hard. And back at center. That time for Barlow. Giving it off towards Schifino. Back at center. Kicked into the zone by Boudreau. And Warwick coming away with it now. Kavanaugh. Richie Kavanaugh through center. Sends it right at Bradley, and he'll just stop play with 7:10 to go in the first. Score knotted up at 1-1. It was 1-0 in the beginning off of the goal from the 12 of Joseph McConaughey. But a tripping call allowed Warwick to go on the power play. And the score taken by Lucas Hemmond managed to knot us up on the go-ahead power play goal at 1-1. Sentinels take the face-off as they pass it over for Villani, losing his footing, and Warwick keeps it in the zone. Sylvester, gets it up to center, taken away by Hemmond. Given off to Pizzulo. And as it crosses the blue line, we'll get an offsides. That time the 3 of Charlie Clements was across that line before Jack Saylor could get across with the possession. And so we'll face off in neutral ice. And the face-off taken away by Smithfield. Hayden, that time to Sylvester, and he'll take it again. Hayden up to Villani at center. Villani, he dumps it in. Pizzulo trying to navigate. And this one tossed up to center. This one dumped ahead over to Bradley, who uses the stick to knock it away. That time Cooper Grossguth was trying to gain the zone, and the play was shut down. Villani trying to get it. He got it under the legs of Jacob Sylvester. This one's dumped in. Colin O'Day. Too much of a lead on Nate Kane, and it goes into the possession of the Sentinels. Payne. Under Donnian in front of the bench, and Warwick dumps it in. Van Gordon cuts back the other way with a nice move. Gets it to Payne. Back to him. And on the near side, it's shuffled back for Van Gordon to chase. Payne will come away with it. Matt Payne. Stuck in front of the boards again. Payne to Donnian. He's not handling the puck too well, and it goes up to that time Nicholas Pike. Pike losing the footing as well, and we get a whistle. And we get another tripping call. This one going to be charged to Warwick, as that time it's the 8 of Daniel Kennedy getting charged for the penalty. And so now Smithfield will get its first power play of the evening. And we'll face off on the near right side and Warwick side of the ice. Smithfield got the go-ahead goal to gain the lead early on. We'll see if they can replicate it again. Off the back end, dumped away by Hemmond, cleared at center. Rinker gonna have to chase it down. Rinker to Sylvester. Sylvester whiffs on the pass. Trying to play some keep away from Richie Kavanaugh. And now he's just running away to gain the zone. And it's poked back to center. Goff getting it off to Mercurio and Hawkins. Will Hawkins taking around the net of Barlow. And the defense was there as they clear it to neutral ice. Sylvester shuffles it for Rinker. Rinker will shepherd it across the zone, sending it behind the back for Hawkins. Hawkins had some trouble, and he dumped it away, and ultimately Pizzulo dumps it away for Warwick. Back to Mercurio. Mercurio heads uphill. Mercurio cuts it back to the inside with the dump in. Under a minute to go on the power play. Rinker sends it back down for Goff. Goff losing possession of the puck, and it's dumped back in. And both sides trying to fight for possession here. Sent off for Hawkins. Hawkins cuts it back to the top shelf. Sends a one-timer from Sylvester, a little wide and blocked by Barlow. And Warwick will clear it again. Bradley with the stop, and Rinker to chase it down with under 30 seconds to go on the penalty. Rinker, nobody's there to take possession, and Payne has to come out and take it, who just checked into the game. Matt Payne cuts it through center. Payne trying to lead it in front. Van Gordon, and wide of the net. Payne trying to get it that time for Sylvester on the near side. And another one cleared. And Warwick officially back to full strength. They've killed the penalty off successfully. And Van Gordon will give it off to the 18 of Boudreaux. Now to center for Hopkins. Jacob Hopkins, a nice little move, and this one stuck in the pads of Braxton Bragg. And that'll stop play. Of course, Braxton Bragg last season, on a team that definitely didn't seem like it could really climb the heights, this year has really shocked us. He's playing as one of the most elite goaltenders in the state of Rhode Island. He's definitely a player to watch in this one. At the point of attack from the face-off, it's a draw. And Smithfield trying to gain possession of the puck, but Warwick to dump it away off to the far side. That time Donian trying to play some keep away from Martin. Brady Martin tied up in front of the bench. And now Pickering will take it. Pickering trying to lead it that time to McNally. And now at center, Martin taken away now by McConaughey. Payne back to Van Gordon. Cody Van Gordon cuts it to the inside and was trying to get Pike. And it was unable to connect. Wraps it around back the other way for Barlow. At center. Trying to lead it that time for the 9 of Kavanaugh. And Kavanaugh will dump it in. Payne using the backboards for Sylvester. To Pasha, and this one dumped in again. Warwick having a strong forecheck here at this point. And this one will go up to Volani. Gets it under the skates of Schifino. Pasha trying to get around Schifino. And on the far side board, puck displaced as Pasha plays keep away. And now Sylvester. Sylvester to Pasha. Pasha gloved up by Bragg, and he had to fall to the floor to stop the play. And I'll stop things with 1:36 to go in the first. And it's been a very interesting back and forth. And so we'll face off on the left-hand side. And Warwick will take the face-off through center. That time, Grossguth. This one deflecting off of Bragg. Getting a little tied up, and Nate Goff will take it away for Smithfield. Goff treks through center. Gained a little bit there was Hawkins. Surprised they didn't call it offsides. They missed it. Clements. Hard check on the near side from Lombardi. And now at the top shelf. Given off to Mercurio. Mercurio with the lead to Goff. Goff Mercurio, and it's poked back to the blue line, and we get the offsides. Sylvester tried to stop it in time, but the referee sees otherwise, as that puck was right on the threshold of neutral ice in the Warwick side of things. 55 seconds to go in the first, and we're all knotted up at one apiece. It's been a very solid go of things, but we could be in for another contested game, ladies and gentlemen. At center, Payne with the giveaway up to Boudreau or Hopkins. Under the legs, Rinker couldn't get any extension there. And this one past the top shelf. Dumped down that time for Boudreau. Behind the net for Hopkins, and this one poked out for Kane, for Warwick, and now Kennedy. Now Kane. Kane somehow missed that offsides call as that shot was taken from Brady Martin. And on the near side, another one coming down. Kane with the chance. And Rinker will dump it all the way down. And we get an icing call. So we will face off on the right-hand side. With not much time remaining in this first. Off the rip, behind the net, Payne. Around the back for Sylvester, wrapping it around to the near side, Villani. Back to center. And time expiring. And the period will come to a conclusion. But after one, the score tied up at one apiece here from Smithfield Municipal Ice Rink. We'll be right back in just a moment for the start of the second period right here on Fans Only Sports Network. In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
In, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
In, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Welcome back after that brief timeout. The start of the second period about to be underway. And waiting for the drop, and there we go. Underway from number 2 of period number 2 here. Don't know how I was going to finish that sentence. That one wrapped around to the near side. Warwick trying to escape the zone. It's dumped in by Smithfield as Hawkins takes it behind the net. Trying to get the setup for Goff. The defense congesting that point of attack there. Mercurio at center. Sending it a little too far behind the back of Payne. Payne with quick reaction timing to deflect the puck off the backboard. Warwick in the zone at this point. On the near side. Goff. Treks through center, and he tripped himself up as this one's dumped in from Kennedy. And they'll be ultimately called for icing. Let's get a word from today's game sponsors. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Joseph Lammy, 696 Reservoir Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island. For consultation and information, visit josephlammy.com. Joseph Lammy, attorney at law. And by RR Elite Recruits, with access to 3,000 schools and 80,000 coaches across 38 NCAA sports. For high school athletes looking to play at the next level, be seen by visiting RR Elite Recruits. Go to www.rreliterecruits.com to sign for more information. Rinker takes the chance, wide of the net. Deflected away from Schifino to the near side. And a broken stick on the floor. Rinker trying to cut it back in. Jack Saylor rushing to the bench for a new stick. This puck still displaced, and it's taken away. Behind the net that time by Schifino. On the far side, dumped away from Pickering at center. A good lead for Grosguth. Cooper Grosguth, and he's tied up by Sylvester as he tried to release the shot. Sylvester was there ultimately to defend. At the top one, another one coming down, and the stick that time of Hopkins deflected the shot of Schifino, but it stays in the zone. Schifino, that time too much of a lead for Pickering, but Pickering will take the shot anyway off of Bradley, far to the right. The whole right side of the net was exposed there, and this one's cleared to center. Back to Pickering. Pickering dumps it in as Warwick gets themselves a line change quickly. Sylvester, it bounced off of Kennedy, but the pass clean into center. And now Lucas Hammond, who had the goal earlier for Warwick. This one all the way to center that time for McNally. McNally across the blue line, and he did not clear that puck cleanly. And offside's the call. So once again, things all knotted up as Smithfield took a 1-0 lead in the early first period, and off of the back of the 12 of Joseph McConaughey. Warwick answered on the power play off of a trip from Smithfield from the 11 of Lucas Edmond, and we've been at 1-1 ever since. Van Gordon, that time to Payne. This one shuffled up to center. It's blocked by McNally, kept in the zone for Warwick. And that pass was in the perfect position for Martin on the right wing side, but they'll try it again anyways. And that one deflected away as the shot was taken that time from Kennedy. Martin, that time a little wide from Hemmond. Back to Hemmond. Hemmond deflecting off the skates that time of Sylvester. A great job shadowing. And Pizzulo gives it back to him. Hemmond to Pizzulo. Pizzulo off the boards towards center, and Van Gordon tracking the puck down, but a good movement there from Kennedy. Trying to shuffle in front of the net. Bradley has to extend under the legs of two players, and he'll make the stop with 12:01. That time it was Richie Kavanaugh trying to make the play. And getting very loud in the barn tonight, as it's been a great turnout for both Warwick and Smithfield fans alike. Could have sworn last night was a playoff game based on the atmosphere, but tonight has a similar feeling just like that. This one shuffled to center as Mulaney is pushed off the mark, and retreating for it is Hayden. Hayden giving it off that time for Sylvester, and it's dumped to center. Off the skates of Mulaney, and pass from Schifino across ice for Pickering. Intercepted by Donayan. He's pushed off the mark, and we get a whistle for a trip. Penalty going to be charged that time to Gerard Schifino for a trip, and so Smithfield will get their second power play of the game and a chance to potentially retake the lead. Warwick played excellent PK coverage the last time they were out on the ice. They allowed no shots on net on that power play. So obviously the PK looking to replicate that production, and of course the offense for Smithfield looks to change things up a little bit this time around. Wrapped around the back end for Goff. Goff to Sylvester at the top shelf. Back to Goff. Goff cutting it to the inside. Goff off of the defender. Goff will take it away again to the near side. Goff to Rinker. And the dump in to Mercurio. Behind the back for Goff. Goff to Rinker at the top shelf off of the defender. That time that was Charlie Clements in the area. And Hawkins gets around Clements, but Clements takes the puck away. Now Warwick just playing some keep-aways. They dump it in again as Pizzulo got rid of it. Under a minute and a half to go on the penalty, and Rinker will come back towards center. To Hawkins. And dumped away again. Hawkins. Hawkins crosses the blue line safely. Hawkins. And this one back up to center. Rinker. Warwick's PK unit playing blanket coverage again. That one to Hawkins. And it's dumped away. Another clear. And Smithfield dumps it all the way down for Pasha. And he had a man in the vicinity, but Hopkins was too shadowed back as they take a chance off of Bragg, who makes the save. 15 seconds to go as Payne will take it back up for one last push with the extra man. Hopkins off of Bragg. And the displaced puck will go back up to Mulaney, and Warwick back to full strength hockey. And went a little too far on that pass, and we get an icing call. We'll step aside for a moment and get a word from tonight's game sponsors at Precision Home Lending.
Want to close your home purchase or refinance faster? Contact me, David Delbonis, at 401-487-7379, President Precision Home Lending. Trust the experts and we'll make your loan experience amazing.
And the face-off on the left-hand side. As the puck hits the floor. Wrapped around the back end that time for Pickering. Pickering too far with the pass. It's dumped in, but no icing. Sylvester pushed up against the zone, needing some help from Pike. And it's dumped back in. Another one coming down. This one bounced off of Kennedy's. That shot came from Pickering. And on the far side, Martin. Pike couldn't get the pass off. And puck displaced all over the place as it goes back and forth between both Warwick and Smithfield before it finds a home, and the shot wide to the left. And bounced off the skates in the zone for Saylor. Saylor giving it off, and Martin couldn't keep the balance. And the dump away will result in another icing call. Let's get another word from tonight's game sponsors. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Joseph Lammy, 696 Reservoir Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island. For consultation and information, visit josephlammy.com. Joseph Lammy, attorney at law. And by RR Elite Recruits, with access to 3,000 schools and 80,000 coaches across 38 NCAA sports. For high school athletes looking to play at the next level, be seen by visiting RR Elite Recruits. Go to www.rreliterecruits.com to sign up for more information. On the near side, this one dumped forward that time, trying to get it to Sylvester. Behind the back that time for the 23. That one off a Bragg as Volani took a chance. And this one shuffled up. Oh, a hard hit on the far side. And that time Saylor giving it off that time to Grossguth. This one wide of the net off the backboards. Pizzulo. It's poked away by Pasha. Dominic Pasha. Couldn't get a good leading pass to Sylvester. And it's dumped in by Hayden. Bragg to stop it. And now Schiaffino. Intended that time for Saylor. And it's dumped in. Mercurio. Over to Goff. Goff cuts it to the middle for Hawkins. Will Hawkins. Right in front for Goff. And it was stopped there. Another one coming down from Hayden. This puck ricocheting off the boards. Still in play. Payne trying to gain the zone on Pizzulo, and Pizzulo clears it up to center. A good stop for Mulaney, and he'll give it up that time for Barlow. Ryan Barlow, this one over the top of the net of Bradley. And on the near side, this one shuffled to Martin. Martin off of Bradley, and ultimately Smithfield able to stop the play with the save. Puck stays on their end of the ice. Trying to get it right in front that time was Richie Kavanaugh. And he'll pass it to the top shelf for Christopher Schiaffino. And this one going into the near side. That's center. Pickering. And it's taken away. Mercurio cuts it back to the middle. Mercurio to Goff. Off of the stick that time as Pickering and him battle for it. And taken away from Hawkins. Hawkins, a good lead there. And that one bounced off the deflection from Hopkins. Bragg in the right spot for it. Barlow entering the zone. Ryan Barlow trying to gain against Sylvester. Oh my goodness. That could have been a hard hit from Dominic Simonelli. As Barlow heads back to the bench. In the zone, Martin. Up for Hammond, excuse me. On the near side. This one coming off of Bradley. As that time, that was Kennedy taking a chance. Kennedy to stop it before it goes offside. Sylvester. That time trying to get it to Rinker. Rinker trying to gain the zone. Rinker trying to push a man off the mark. Play continues to ensue. That time trying to get it to Hopkins. Hopkins to Boudreau. Boudreau back to Hopkins. And stopped by Sylvester. One coming down right in front of Bragg. Puck still loose. It was several feet away. And on the center ice, dumped in. And that time Simonelli up to Rinker. Rinker through center. Intercepted, taken away by Pizzulo. And shuffled all the way up front for Clements. Clements trying to chase this one down. Trying to get a chance in front. Sylvester underneath. And taken away by Grossgoth. This one over the top of Bradley. Back to Grossgoth. Grossgoth. They tried to set up a perfect one-timer, but Smithfield there defensively. Jacob Sylvester off to the far side. And that time Pizzulo giving it off for Martin. Or excuse me, Saylor. And Saylor will dump it over towards Bradley. And Bradley keeps it in check. Payne. All the way for Rinker. He's pushed to the floor. Excuse me, that was Jacob Sylvester. One Sylvester out there. And Barlow behind the back that time. That one off of Bradley. This one behind the net. And this one sent to the top shelf for Pizzulo. This one into the protective netting, out of play. With 3:46 to go in the second period, a lot of words, verbiage, adjectives coming out of my mouth those last few minutes. Probably this has probably been one of the longest games, well, the longest sequence-filled games. A lot of times it's been a lot of stoppage, but, you know, a lot of oxygen in these last few minutes, I got to say. 3:46 to go. Back in action. Payne. Behind the back for Van Gordon. Now for Donovan. This one bounced to center. Over to the skates of Nicholas Pike. Pike getting pushed off the mark. It's sent back to the top shelf. Kavanaugh. Richie Kavanaugh cuts it to the inside, and the deflection off the back end. And Barlow shuffles it that time for Schiaffino. The defense was there as it goes to the far end. Van Gordon got tied up with Kavanaugh, and Kavanaugh falls to the floor. Pike deflected, still falls into the clutches of Van Gordon. It's dumped in. Schiaffino shuffles it all the way up front, and Bradley will make the save. Would have been offsides regardless that time, because that was Daniel Kennedy ahead of everybody. He just came onto the floor with 2:59 to go in the second period. Still knotted up 1-1. This game tonight has the makings of what happened yesterday when Smithfield and LaSalle ended up going into overtime. So, of course, we'll see which side can truly gain the advantage. But as of right now, it's deadlocked as of this moment. And now face off on the right side. Taken up by center. Martin dumps it in. A nice lead that time for Kennedy and off of Bradley. in the corner. Mercurio getting tied up. The official having to skate away out of it. Mercurio behind the back, off to skate after it. And this one way out of play as it hits the top of the barn. And we'll stop play with just about 2.5 to go. And the face-off on the far right side. And dumped away all the way down through center. A great breakaway chance, and Bragg was there. Looked him dead in the eyes and didn't blink. As Boudreau was the one with the takeaway and the near breakaway try on net. This one given up that time to Kane. Taken away by Sylvester. Sylvester pushes Lucas Hedman to the floor. And now Clements. Charlie Clements cuts around the backside of the net and bounced off as that was Hopkins in the defensive zone at the top shelf. Hammond wide, hits off of Bradley as Clements came in, and finally Bragg will stop the play. Tensions are high from both sides, and it sure will make a great ending, potentially. And back to center. A good lead that time, but Bragg right in front as the puck had too much on it. Pickering. Back up to the 12 of Mulaney. Mulaney to Barlow. Ryan Barlow gaining the zone off of Bradley, and he stopped that in his pads somehow. So the last save from Bradley was a stop of the puck right in between the shin pads. And about 1.5 minutes to go in the second before we get a brief intermission as that Zamboni will resurface the ice for the start of the third. Mercurio giving it off to Van Gordon. Goff. Trouble finding possession. Kavanaugh trying to make work right in front of Bradley. And Bradley makes the save by the looks of it. There was some late pushes after the play was over. And they made a great save at the end of it. .122 to go in the second. And Hopkins on top of it. Back to the near side. That time Schifino. Surprised there wasn't any interference called, as that time Hopkins was literally lying down on top of the puck. Rinker across the blue line. Rinker trying to find that top shelf over Bragg, but it's cleared at center ice. Hayden pushed hard. This one dumped in. Bragg to make the stop, and it's wrapped around. Another hard hit as both teams have been hitting each other all game, and a penalty going to be charged to Smithfield for that hit. It's likely going to be charged to Jacob Hopkins. Referee's arm still up. Barlow trying to take the chance off of the defense, and there it is, the touch. That'll stop the play. And that play, that penalty going to be charged to Jacob Hopkins, likely for a rough or a cross check. But either way, Warwick will hit the power play for the next 2 minutes. That will carry over into the third period, so Smithfield will be down a man. And our officials are still talking things over. And officials still trying to sort things out with both benches respectively. And so Smithfield just going to be down one man. And we'll face off on the right side. Pizzulo down into the zone. Sylvester trying to gain out. Kavanaugh, one off of Bradley. Save. And this one's going to be a 5-minute major. So Warwick going to be on the power play for quite some time. They actually gave Hopkins a major for that rough. So we'll face off again. And Sylvester with the clear all the way down. Pizzulo to meet it, and he'll take it up. Kept in the zone by Payne, and taken away that time by Hemmond. Hemmond clipped up, and there's the arm. There's the signal. And so Smithfield going to get charged another penalty, but after that, it's going to be a trip. So another penalty is going to be charged to Smithfield going into the third for a trip. So it will be 5-on-3 for quite some time. But after two, the score sits at 1-1 from Smithfield Municipal Ice Rink between the Smithfield Sentinels and Warwick Co-op. We're going to take ourselves a break and be back for the start of the third period. In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone. That is a touchdown.
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try to kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try to kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try to kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try to kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try to kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
First try to kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot
Try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Comes in, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Comes in, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
Welcome back to the start of the third period. Score still knotted up at 1-1. Smithfield down to 3 men as a trip call came late in the second, that allowed Warwick to go on a 5-on-3 power play. One of those being a major, the other one being a 2-minute minor. So Smithfield down to 3 men for the next 2 minutes. Pizzulo on the far side with Sylvester on his tail. Trying to get it over for Hemmond. Rinker being pushed off the mark that time as Clements comes in to clean up. At the top shelf to Kavanaugh. Back to Clements. Clements off of Bradley. Wide open exposed net, and Barlow couldn't finish the deal. Still in the zone. Kavanaugh. And blocked by Sylvester, and it's cleared to center. Sylvester trying to sell out. No call. And this one out of play. And of course, Warwick looking for another trip, as Sylvester did sell out on the floor and caused a little bit of interference. The referees let that one slide as Smithfield was already down a man. So minute 17 left on the minor, 3:44 on the major, and we'll face off at neutral ice. So offsides was the call. Sent back to Bradley. Bradley going to rifle it off to the right. Sylvester can't dump it. Pasha couldn't get to it. Schifino to the top shelf that time for Pickering. Back to Schifino. Schifino over the backside of the net and still in play. Schifino across that time, and whiffing on the chance was the 19 of Cooper Grossguth, but Warwick keeping it in the zone. Pickering to Schifino. Schifino bounced off by Sylvester. And coming downhill that time for the 12 of Mullaney, and it bounces off of Bradley. Just about 30 seconds to go on the minor before the Sentinels get back to full strength. This one back to center on a bad pass. And dumped away all the way down. And Warwick slow to really get this one moving forward. Pizzulo with under 15 seconds to go on the minor. Gets it to the top for Kavanaugh. Back to Pizzulo to Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh coming around, dumping it in. Hemmond trapped up there by Payne. And Smithfield back to an extra man. About 2.5 minutes to go on the major. 5-on-4 hockey to resume. Barlow off of Bradley. And this one going back to Barlow. Kavanaugh to Barlow. Barlow off of Bradley, and that time Clements was in the area but couldn't finish the deal in the slot. This one goes all the way back to Bragg. Pizzulo off the back end. That time up to center to Barlow. Ryan Barlow. Barlow under 2 minutes to go now on the penalty. That one to the top shelf. This one to Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh taking the chance wide to the left. Pizzulo. Kavanaugh whiffs on the one-timer, and Rinker will send it behind the back that time for Hayden, who clears it to center. Smithfield doing an excellent job of killing off the power play. Warwick's had some advantages in the zone, but Smithfield's been on its A game on this PK. Pasha trying to gain it on top of Hammond, and it's dumped away. Pizzulo off the backside. And puck displaced a whole bunch as Boudreau will play keep away. Now under a minute to go on the major. Smithfield playing very conservative as they dump it away, and that's conservative. That conservative nature has really rewarded them in this moment. Now back to center, this time to Mulaney. Mulaney cutting it to the inside, taken away by Boudreau, who clears it to neutral ice once again. And Pickering gets it to Martin. Martin under Mulaney, a bad pass. This one off of Mulaney in the zone, and Payne clears it one more time. Pickering behind the cage of Barlow. And under 20 seconds to go on the power play. At center, another too much of a lead as that time as Lombardi dumps it away. And Pickering will take it again. Pickering cuts it back the other way. Leading to Schifino. Schifino. One last opportunity. The power play comes to an end. And Smithfield kills off 2 penalties, but in the zone. A good chance, and Bradley makes a great save as the puck goes out of play. Wow. Wow. You wouldn't have thought. You thought that you could have written the game off for Warwick in that regard, but Smithfield has other ideas. They're desperately fighting to be relevant in this Division I playoff picture that Warwick is already kind of secured as of this moment. But of course, spoils could be called for. And on the right side, Mercurio back to Payne. Smithfield finally back at full strength as they lead the pass up front. Behind the back for Van Goren to the opposite side to the near. Puck remains in the zone for Mercurio. Mercurio can't game the zone on Kane, and they keep it on the back end. Payne. Payne cuts it to the middle. Payne through center. Matt Payne. Payne giving it off for Hawkins. This one off of Bragg. And Goff to stop it just before the blue line with the dump in. Hawkins dumps it around. Mercurio to trap it. And Pizzulo trying to play some keep away as Hawkins dumps it. Bragg knocking away with the stick. And it's dumped to the far side for Kane. Kane back to center. Too much of a lead for Barlow, and Payne will dump it up. And it comes back to center. Van Gordon towards Goff. Goff pushed hard into the bench. A hard hit. And now back to center, and Payne really getting pesky there as he nearly leveled Clements. Hopkins trying to find the lead to Goff. That time Boudreau trying to gain it on top of Clements. And now Barlow. Ryan Barlow. He'll dump it in. Around the backside of Bradley. And on the near side, Pickering takes the chance off of Bradley's glove. Still in play, back to the net, score! The tie is finally broken as Warwick takes the vantage lead. And gives credit of the goal that time to the number 3 of Charlie Clements. And Warwick finally breaks the tie, giving themselves a 2-1 lead. Bradley had to come out of the box a bit, tried to pull the puck in with the stick as it deflected off the glove, and the puck broke free and gave enough room for Clements to get it over the top of Bradley for the go-ahead goal. 2-1 the score with 8:37 to go in the third. And Smithfield really going to have to battle back here. Clements taking it across again for another try. This one coming right at Bradley, and the save made. That time Cooper Grossguth took a chance. Let's get one final word from tonight's game sponsors. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Joseph Lammy, 696 Reservoir Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island. For consultation and information, visit josephlammy.com. Joseph Lammy, attorney at law. And then by RR Elite Recruits, with access to 3,000 schools and 80,000 coaches across 38 NCAA sports. For high school athletes looking to play at the next level, be seen by visiting RR Elite Recruits. Go to www.rreliterecruits.com and sign up for more information. McNally trying to gain the zone as it's dumped around past Kennedy. And back at center. Martin, Pickering. And taken away by Payne. Matt Payne crossing the blue line. Payne off of Bragg. And still in front of Bragg as he sticks it away. Pasha sends it back in. Sylvester checked into the corner. And taken away there by Sylvester. And at the top shelf, Van Gordon rifles a shot into the netting off of a defender, and that'll stop play with 7:39 to go. Two to one the score, as Warwick took advantage of their go-ahead try, and they now lead 2-1 with just about 7.5 to go. It's the perfect spot they want to be to etch another win onto their season to further cement themselves in this Division I playoff picture. As there's only a couple of weeks left, this is the best time to really experience hockey here in the state of Rhode Island. Every team playing for something. Kavanaugh up to center to Barlow. Mulaney will dump it forward. Mulaney trying to gain ahead of Lombardi. Sends it behind the net of Bradley. And on the near side, Barlow sends it through the wickets of Mulaney in the zone. This one heading off the back end. Sylvester back over to Donayan. Pizzulo. It's dumped in. Sylvester to meet it. Given off to the near side and sent to the far. And that time Saylor. He'll dump it in. Sylvester cuts it back to the middle. A lot of poke checks back and forth, and given off now for Saylor. Saylor, and now that time Groskopf in front of Bradley, and he has to sell out for it. Warwick really generating some strong offensive plays. And they finally are able to capitalize one off the back of the three of Charlie Clements. And 6.5 to go. This one given up to Clements. Clements off of a defender. Goff trying to get back to Hawkins. Clements cuts back towards the side as he falls to the floor. Defenders there. And that time Hayden back to the near. And trying to get the setup to Clements again, and a save from Bradley. And that time Pickering. Another one off of Bradley, and the save again. 5:59 to go in the third. And a face-off on the left-hand side. Back in the action. And there was a near-time one-timer for Daniel Kennedy as Rinker tries to get it away. That time Kennedy in the slot, taken away from Hopkins. And he'll come back to center for a lead on Rinker. At center, Martin giving it to Kane. Nate Kane trying to get around Lombardi. A chance in front, and the Sentinels will clear it away from the slot. And Sylvester trying to send it forward for Boudreau. Boudreau checks a man, and it's dumped down. Pizzulo all the way up through center, and Sylvester, and we get a late whistle. 5:13 to go. Smithfield backs to the wall at this point. Really going to need to generate something, and potentially, obviously, there's already conversations from their coaching staff about pulling Matt Bradley soon. He's played solid throughout the night, very similar to last night. But his offense needs to get something brewing if they want to have a chance. Smithfield last night scored a goal in the first period just like they did tonight and were unable to generate any more offense besides that. And we'll see if they can replicate that late in this one. Bradley already out of the box, skating onto the ice almost, and Van Gordon trying to get it up that time to Villani. Now Kavanaugh. He's trying to get over to Mulaney and Barlow. Mulaney on the far corner. And Kavanaugh to assist. Pushed off the mark there. An open ice hit. Payne. Around the back for Van Gordon. Up to center. Taken away by Schifino. And now Barlow. Ryan Barlow. It's pushed away. Barlow, this one off the backside. And that one off of Bradley. Puck still in play. It's displaced. And Smithfield will clear it one more time. Dumped off the near side. Barlow at center. Giving it off to Mulaney. Mulaney cutting it to the middle. Mulaney sends one at Bradley. And Bradley will make the save. And that'll stop play. And that one out of play one more time with 4:04 to go. On the Smithfield side of the ice, this one wrapped around to the far end for Goff. Goff treks through center. Nate Goff. That time, that was Hemmen trying to check him into the bench again. Didn't want to have that happen. Hawkins trying to get it to Goff. There wasn't enough room for him to extend in the slot. The far side for Grossguth. This one off of the protective glass. This one on the far right side that time as Grossguth took another try and goes off to the left. And at center, Hawkins. Will Hawkins skates around the back end. Hawkins, and that was a pass intended for Lombardi, and it's poked back into the zone. Smithfield couldn't have touched it anyways. It was cleared at center. Kennedy right at Bradley. Bradley with the save. 3:01 to go in regulation. And Smithfield can seem to get the puck out of their own end, but it hasn't been for very long. It hasn't really been enough time for Bradley to gain any leverage to get out and onto the bench. But you can already see Smithfield's preparing to pull him soon. But they need to move the puck out of their own end if they want to do so. And Van Gordon dumps it to center. Sent back in by Warwick. That time McNally tied up in front of the bench. Hopkins cuts to center. Hopkins takes it across the blue line. Bradley already shadowed out of the box. And Payne will take it. And no, taken away that time by McNally. Bradley going to have to shift back in. And he'll stop play again with 2:32. Coaching staff can't seem to pull him as the puck continuously seems to go into Smithfield's end at each time. Warwick has been playing very good defense as of this far. But Smithfield definitely going to have to move this puck effectively with just about 2.5 to go and a chance to try and tie this one and force overtime. Off the face-off. Dumped around for Villani. Belani at center. Barlow in front of him. Barlow will dump it the opposite way. A nice pass to Pasha. And Pasha has to lay off as this one would have not been onside. And back at center, back the opposite way, icing the call on the floor. So Smithfield might get its wish as they will not pull Bradley, surprisingly. With already 2 minutes to go. And now a face-off on the far right corner. And a timeout called. Score 2-1 with 2:07 to go in the third. And Smithfield calls a late timeout to talk things over. We're going to take a quick break and step aside while these two teams discuss right here from Smithfield. In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Oh, Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
In, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Oh, Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
In, fires.
Back following the timeout, and Bradley still not pulled from the box. Already out of the box as he's waiting for that call from the bench. Smithfield with the dump in. Back to center for Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh to Mullaney. Mullaney one-on-one a little wide of the net. And Kavanaugh on that corner. Sylvester to trap him there to allow Mercurio to come in and assist, and a great movement of the puck. Barlow couldn't get the setup, and here comes Mercurio. Only two defenders in front of Smithfield. Mercurio trying to lead it for Hawkins. Bradley still not being pulled yet, and Kavanaugh will take it up for Warwick. Just about a minute to go. Kavanaugh right into the chest of Bradley, and he makes the save with 1:13 to go. It's a nail biter. But if Smithfield can't do anything here, it will likely end in favor of Warwick. This one dumped all the way down towards Bragg. Bragg to stop the puck in its place. Pasha nearly collided with Bragg, but was able to pull off just in time before things got ugly. And now Bradley pulled as the face-off will come on the Warwick side of the ice. So 6 men out on the floor and an empty net for Smithfield, and we'll face off on the left-hand side. A chance for Smithfield to force overtime with 1:06 to go. Can they do it? And can Warwick hold them off? Off the back end. Rinker keeping it in play. Rinker tried to feed it and it was intercepted by Grossgoth. Grossgoth just wide of the net. Icing called with 54 seconds. We'll do it all over again. Just by a couple of inches, too. And that would have, without a doubt, sealed the deal. And we'll face off again. This one behind Hawkins, taken up here by Clements. Charlie Clements, that's it. The empty netter Clements' second goal of the game. As Bradley skates out of the floor, that should be the final nail in the coffin as Charlie Clements scores his second goal, third goal of the game for Warwick. And the score improves to 3-1. It was a tough one, but Warwick will be able to walk away with a victory tonight. As Barlow will take it, sends it right off of Bradley into that far end. And taken off of Kavanaugh. Now wrapped around Van Gordon. Van Gordon with the lead to McConaughey. And off to the near side for Pickering. At center, dumped in. And icing going to be called here. And running down play here with not much time to go. Payne back to the middle. And Hawkins taken away by Shafino. Wrapped around to the near end. And Smithfield trying to get some late shots in. Smithfield pulled their goaltender again with 5 seconds to go. And will face off one more time on the Warwick side of the ice. I'm just waiting for this final face-off to occur before Warwick can walk away with their 8th win of the season. And face-off sent all the way back through center. It will travel all the way down, and that will do it. Warwick takes the game, final 3-1 from Smithfield, and they improved to 8 wins on the year. Smithfield was sitting at 5-6 at the start of the weekend. They now fall to 5-8, and the questions of them potentially making the playoffs are really in question now. Warwick riding high, as they are without a doubt, we will see them in the postseason. But that does it for us here on Fans Only Sports Network. A great game tonight, a very contested game. You could feel the energy throughout, and of course the team showed that as well as the fans. And it was definitely one to remember. Smithfield just couldn't generate enough offense to get it going. Warwick took care of business when it called for it, and they walk away with the win. Final score 3-1. Thank you all for tuning into the broadcast tonight here on Fans Only Sports Network. I'm Chris Etu calling the plays. We'll catch you all next time. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles from Glendale, Arizona. Should be a good one. But we'll catch you all in the next broadcast very soon. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great rest of your weekend.